The movie is set in the 25th century, even though we live in the 21st century today. In this future world, all the glaciers have melted, and now the entire Earth is covered with water. The sea level has risen by 25,000 feet, and the few survivors live in floating settlements on the ocean. They've adapted to this new environment, but there's a myth that says there's dry land at the end of the ocean, and everyone dreams of finding it. We meet a man named Mariner. He's a tough survivor with a boat and has figured out a way to live in this water-covered world. He toilets in a container, puts it in a machine, and cleans it so he can drink the water because the seawater isn't drinkable, and clean water is insanely valuable now. One day, Mariner spots a boat in the distance with a man on board. He shouts that when two travelers meet, they should trade goods. The man replies that he doesn't need anything, but mentions he just came from a water settlement about 8 days away. Suddenly, they both spot two people approaching from afar. These guys are called smokers. The man grins, showing Mariner some fruit he swiped from the smoker's boat, but then warns him, "You'll never get out of here, your boat's broken." Before taking off, Mariner pulls a handle on his boat, and large sails unfold. His boat isn't just any boat, it's a high-tech trimaran, built for speed. But just as his boat takes off, the smokers get too close and damage the sails, slowing him down. A chase follows, but Mariner, skilled as ever, escapes the smokers and heads toward the water settlement. When he arrives at the settlement's gate, the guards are suspicious, but Mariner shows them something that shocks them. Soil. In this world, soil is as valuable as diamonds are today. The guards are amazed, and they let him in. When they weigh the soil, it comes out to be 3.5 kilos. In exchange, they offer him 62 coins, a rare fortune in this waterlogged world. The Mariner refuses the offer of 62 coins, saying he wants double. Surprisingly, they agree and give him twice the amount. In this era, soil is incredibly valuable because small, thick trees can grow in it, allowing people to produce their own food. Mariner then heads to a shop with his coins to buy some water. While there, he notices a tomato plant. Interested, he tells the shopkeeper he wants to buy it. The girl at the shop, Helen, tells him, "I want half of your coins in exchange." Without hesitation, Mariner agrees and hands over half of his coins to buy the tomato plant. Helen has a young girl with her named Enola, whom she cares for like a guardian. After the exchange, Mariner is about to leave when a group of villagers approaches him. They have a girl with them and make him a surprising offer. They tell Mariner, make a relationship with her, and when she becomes pregnant, you can leave with whatever you need. The reason for this is that they are outsiders, and their genes have weakened over time. But Mariner coldly rejects them, saying, "You've got nothing to offer me, you're already dying." As Mariner tries to walk away, they grow suspicious and accuse him of being a smoker. They stop him, and when they look closely, they notice something strange, gills behind his ears. Immediately, one of the men yells, "He's a mutant!" They capture him, and he is locked in a cage, submerged in mud. In this settlement, those who die are drowned in mud to become fertilizer, and it looks like the same fate awaits Mariner. But before they can drown him, smokers attack the settlement. Amidst the chaos, a man named Grigor, an inventor, tries to escape in a flying balloon. He wants to take Helen and Enola with him, but the balloon takes off before they can reach it. Helen sees that the Mariner is still trapped in the cage and drowning. Desperate, she rushes over, realizing that if the three of them don't leave together soon, the smokers will destroy the settlement and take it over entirely. The leader of the smokers, Deacon, demands, "I want that tattooed girl." He's talking about Enola. There's a tattoo on her back, and the smokers believe it's a map that leads to Dryland. That's why they attack the settlement. In this world, there are three different groups. First, there are the smokers who attack settlements and kill people. Second, there are regular people who live in sea settlements, buying and selling goods. Lastly, there are the mutants, like Mariner, who have gills behind their ears and can breathe underwater. Mariner tells Helen, "We have to kill these people because we don't have enough water for three of us to survive." Water is incredibly valuable here because they can't drink seawater, and they don't have any other water sources. But Helen refuses and says, "Don't hurt the child." Meanwhile, Deacon is determined to capture Enola. He wants to find Dryland, so he sends his men after Mariner in a plane. The smokers catch up to them and attack. Deacon's men are ordered not to kill Enola, so they keep shooting at the boat. Mariner heads down to the basement of his boat, looking for his weapons, while Deacon's men think he's trying to escape. On the boat, there's a gun attached to a rope. Helen grabs the gun and fires it at the plane. The arrow hits the plane, and now it starts flying in circles around the boat, pulling it along. The boat's big sails start to tear. Mariner rushes up quickly, trying to cut the rope before the sails are completely destroyed. With great effort, Mariner finally cuts the rope, but he falls into the water in the process. The plane flies away, but Mariner's boat is left in terrible shape, badly damaged from the attack. Angry and frustrated, Mariner cuts off Helen and Enola's hair and declares, "From now on, no one touches anything on my boat." Afterward, they decide to continue their journey, and soon, they spot another boat in the distance. Helen suggests they should talk to the man on the boat, thinking he might have food. Mariner doesn't want to, but on Helen's insistence, he approaches the man. The man has something incredibly valuable: paper. In a world covered by water, paper is rare and practically impossible to make, like an antique in today's world. Mariner and Helen hope to trade for food, but the man doesn't have any. Instead, He offers the paper in exchange for Helen. Mariner, surprisingly, agrees at first, telling the man she's yours for half an hour. The man plans to take Helen below deck and assault her. But just before it happens, Mariner changes his mind. He steps in and says the deal is off, returning the paper to the man. The man, furious, pulls out a knife and tries to attack Helen, but Mariner quickly sends her back to the boat and kills the man in the fight. Mariner knows that all three of them are hungry, including himself, so he dives into the ocean and catches a giant fish. With plenty of food, they eat until they're full. As they relax, Enola admits to Mariner, I don't know how to swim. Surprised, he says, I've never met anyone who can't swim, since in this world, everyone knows how to swim. Enola then says, I wish my feet were like yours, referring to his mutant ability. Helen tells Mariner that she isn't Enola's mother, just her guardian. As they spend more time together, their bond starts to grow. The Mariner, who once hated being with them, now finds himself becoming friends with Helen and Enola. He even teaches Enola how to swim. Later, while on the boat, they spot something huge on the horizon, a massive ship looming ahead of them. This place turns out to be a dock where people buy and sell goods, so Mariner brings his boat over. But when he gets a closer look, he realizes the smokers are in control of the entire area. Deacon has come here with his men, determined to find the map of Dryland that's tattooed on Enola's back. Sensing the danger, Mariner cleverly and bravely escapes with Helen and Enola. As they leave, Mariner starts to piece things together. They weren't following us. They were after Enola, he says. He becomes curious about the tattoo on her back and asks, what does it mean? Helen explains, it's the map to Dryland. The way to find it? Mariner scoffs, calling it ridiculous. There's no such place, he insists. But Helen argues, when we found Enola, she had dry soil in her basket, and it was better soil than the kind you had. That's why everyone believes the map on her back leads to Dryland. Up to this point, Helen and Enola both believed Mariner was guiding them to Dryland because he has many things on his boat that could only have come from land. Things made by humans, and even soil. But Mariner firmly tells them, there's no such place. You're fools for believing in something you've never seen. It doesn't exist. Helen counters, then where did you get that glass and that music box? Those things could only be made on dry land. Mariner, frustrated, says, you want to see dry land? Come with me. He takes her into the water and locks her in a special box that keeps out water, then dives deep below the surface. There he shows her what's left of a city, completely submerged and ruined. Large buildings that were once part of a thriving place are now nothing more than underwater wreckage. He wants to crush her hope, showing her that whatever land there was is long gone. When they return to the surface, they discover the smokers have taken over their boat. The smokers immediately ask, where's Enola? Enola, seeing the smokers approach, had hidden somewhere on the boat. They threaten Mariner and Helen, warning them, if you don't tell us, we'll kill you both. But even though Helen catches a glimpse of Enola's foot, she doesn't reveal her hiding spot. Enola knows the smokers can't be trusted. Deacon threatens to kill both Helen and the Mariner if they don't reveal where Enola is. Just as the situation seems dire, Enola calls out and steps forward, making herself known to the smokers. The leader of the smokers then orders the death of Helen and the Mariner. But before they can act, both Helen and the Mariner jump into the water. Helen struggles because she can't breathe underwater, being human. However, the Mariner has gills, so he is able to breathe for both of them by sharing air from his mouth. After a while, they finally come back up to the surface. When they emerge, they see that the smokers have completely destroyed the Mariner's boat. This sight saddens the Mariner deeply. As they share this moment, Helen feels her compassion for him grow. They begin to bond, and while Helen sleeps, the Mariner dives down to retrieve some belongings and a piece of paper he had taken from a man they met on their journey. The paper has a drawing of an island with many trees. Enola has also drawn a picture, which leads the Mariner to realize that the tattoo on Enola's back is actually a map to Dryland. Enola used to draw everything she saw, so if she drew that picture, it means she has been there before. However, escaping their current situation seems impossible because their boat is now wrecked. Suddenly, a man with a hot air balloon appears. He had escaped from his settlement when the smokers attacked. He recognizes Helen and tells her it's lucky she burned her boat. Otherwise, he wouldn't have found her. The smoke from the fire helped him locate them. He takes both Helen and the Mariner on his balloon. Nearby, they find other survivors who also escaped from the smoker attack. After they reach safety, the Mariner announces that he will go find Enola. He heads towards the large ship of the smokers, going inside where he finds many people. They all ask their leader, Deacon, when they will reach Dryland. Deacon lies, saying he has found the map and that they need to leave immediately. Although they have this map, because of his lie, everyone goes down to the basement and starts running to take that huge ship away. Then the Mariner comes face to face with Deacon, who has a gun. The Mariner says, I want this girl. Deacon replies, you cannot go back alive from here. Then the Mariner takes out a burning torch and puts it into a pipe leading to the oil wells. This causes a powerful blast, killing many of his people, the smokers. The Mariner goes to the place where Enola is, and when he reaches the top, he sees that Deacon has taken her up in his plane. The Mariner hangs a rope on his plane, causing it to crash, and it falls onto the ship. Now, this huge ship is sinking, but before the whole ship is submerged in the water, Helen and Gregor reach the flying hull and throw a rope down. With the help of that rope, the Mariner and Enola reach the flying hull. Then a huge blast occurs on the ship, killing all the smokers. However, Deacon is still alive, and he shoots at Enola from the water scooter below. He wants to kill Enola, but the bullet misses her and hits her side, causing her to fall into the water. Now, 4 smokers are moving towards her because they want to capture her. The Mariner then ties a rope around his foot and jumps towards Enola, as if bungee jumping. Before the smokers reach them, he pulls Enola up. The 3 smokers who were coming towards him collide with each other, resulting in a powerful blast. In this blast, all the smokers die along with Deacon. In this way, the Mariner successfully saves Enola. After their daring escape, they come up to the surface, and Gregor shares that he now understands the way to their destination. He figured it out by observing the position of the sun and looking at the tattoo on Enola's back. Gregor deduces that the dry land should be on the other side of the water. With this newfound knowledge, they prepare to take their flying balloon to the other side. That night, after their long day, they all go to sleep, exhausted. When the Mariner opens his eyes in the morning, he notices a bird perched on his horse. He looks ahead and sees a towering mountain. It's Everest, but now it's transformed into a lush paradise, completely green and filled with colorful birds, tall trees, and sweet water streams that flow gently down the mountainside. As they climb up the mountain, they stumble upon a hut. Inside the hut, they find 2 cradles that once belonged to Enola's parents. There's also a tattoo machine, which means Enola has the equipment to create tattoos. The Mariner learns that Enola's parents knew they were dying, so they made a tattoo on her back and placed her in a basket to keep her safe. They also included some dry mud from the area in that basket. They did this so that if someone found the basket, they would know there is dry land somewhere nearby. They hoped that this person could reach the place by following the map that was tattooed on Enola's back. Since Enola was so small, she wouldn't have been able to survive on her own in the harsh world. Enola's parents had thought of this plan to protect her. Now, after all this time, Enola has finally returned to her home. On the other hand, the Mariner feels out of place in this green paradise because he is not human. He belongs to the sea. He can't shake the feeling that the ocean is calling him back. Once again, the Mariner decides to build a boat for himself. He prepares to go back to the sea, where he believes he truly belongs. However, both Enola and Helen do not want him to leave and return to the ocean. Helen loves him deeply, but the Mariner feels he must follow his heart. He says goodbye to both of them, knowing that he is heading back to the place that feels like home, the sea. With that, the film and the story come to an end. We hope you enjoyed this journey, and if you are new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe.